Hello and welcome everyone to my YouTube channel Philosophy Simplified. In pre-Socratic philosopher series, today we are going to discuss about Parmenides. The very first thing that we need to know about Parmenides is he was a pre-Socratic philosopher. And Parmenides was considered as the founder of Eleatic schools. In Eleatic schools, there was three philosophers: Parmenides, Xenophon, and Zeno. Parmenides was a famous metaphysician. Xenophon was a famous theologian, and Zeno was famous for his dialectical method. And if we talk about Parmenides was a student of Xenophon. So, who was Xenophon? Xenophon was a pre-Socratic philosopher and poet. Xenophon is known for his critique of traditional Greek knowledge and mythology. He also proposed a form of monotheism, claiming that there is one God, unlike humans in form or thought, who control everything. Xenophon's emphasis on critical thinking and his skepticism about human knowledge or thoughts to have influenced Parmenides, especially in the later development of metaphysical ideas about the nature of reality and the limits of perception and knowledge. Parmenides was famous for his doctrine of beings, which was discussed in his poems on nature. In metaphysics, we find two opinions: being and non-beings, change and unchangeable. So, Parmenides was in favor of beings. Parmenides asserted that being is, and non-being is not. There is no such thing as nothingness. The idea of non-being is illogical. And according to Parmenides, reality is unchanging. Clear, only being exists, and anything that implies change or becoming is an illusion. So, according to Parmenides, reality is one, that is unchanging, eternal, and indivisible. Parmenides argue that true reality is a singular, unchanging one beyond sensory perception. This is the only reason he was against the concept of becoming or change. And according to Parmenides, change is illusion. Change, motion, plurality are illusions of the senses. The senses deceive us into thinking that the world is full of different things and constant changes. So, according to Parmenides, true knowledge comes through reason, not through senses. This is the only reason he was against sensory perceptions or sensory experience, and rather he focused more on using a reason as a source of knowledge when we talks about reality or beings. Parmenides was basically a monist, meaning he believed in the existence of only one fundamental reality. This single unchanging reality is eternal, indestructible, and complete in itself. And this view of Parmenides is exactly opposite of Heraclitus' views of becoming. Parmenides also make the distinction between two way of thinking or two paths of thinking: the way of truth and the way of opinions. The way of truth, according to Parmenides, is includes the rational path that leads to the conclusion that only being is real and unchanging, that had its ground in rationality or reasons. On the other hand, the way of opinions, that means the path based on sensory experience, leading to false belief about a world of change and multiplicity. So the influence of Parmenides philosophy was clearly reflected on the later philosophers. Parmenides' ideas deeply influenced later philosophers, especially Plato and Aristotle. His focus on the contrast between appearance and reality laid the groundwork for later metaphysical discussion. This is why we choose to give him the title the first metaphysician, because he talks about the being. He talks about the reality is eternal, reality is unchangeable. Coming is illusions. So let's conclude these points that we discussed in today's lectures highlights Parmenides' view of a singular, unchanging reality and his argument against the existence of change and pluralisms. His philosophy emphasizes the role of reason over sensory experience in understanding the nature of existence. Thanks for watching.